In this video, I'm going to show you how to order custom envelope liners with PrintsWell Fulfillment. They're one of my favorite printers for stationery, and custom envelope liners are one of my absolute favorite pieces. So let's dive in. Hi, I'm Laney. I'm a wedding invitation designer, and an envelope liner is basically this piece of paper that goes on the inside of your envelope. You can do so many different types of designs. Here's another floral one. A lot of mine are floral. This fun holographic one. And these envelopes are called Euro flap, but what I'm going to show you today, you can print square flap liners, Euro flap liners, all kinds of things. So I have another video all about designing these, which is so fun because you can do like an image like this. You can do an all over pattern like that one. You can do something that comes up from the top and kind of like falls down the envelope, or the opposite that kind of goes up through it. So there's just a ton of different options here that you can use to kind of zhuzh up your envelopes. I even like to do them with photos. So I love, for instance, like this is an engagement photo for me and my husband, and doing an envelope liner would be super duper cute with that. And we're going to use PrintsWell Fulfillment, which gives you both the Euro flap and the square flap options in a few different sizes. And I'm going to link my link below that will get you $25 off your first order with them once you set up an account. I have a ton of other videos on them, and they're my favorite, absolute favorite for stationery printing. The first thing we need to do is design our envelope. So they have templates. If you click this need help at the top, and then you go into their template downloads here, you will see that they have all of their envelope liner templates right over here, envelope and liner templates. So they have straight flap and Euro flap envelope liners. If you're planning to get into stationery design, I have a library that includes these templates for a lot of different companies. So you'll navigate to PrintsWell envelope liners and go down to the one we want. So this is A7 Euro flap, and with bleeds, the size is going to be 7.25 by 9.5. So we need to make sure that our artboard is sized appropriately. So 7.25, they always require a 0.25 inch bleed, so we want it to be a little smaller than that. So 7 by 9.25 is going to be absolutely perfect. And then we have this red line indicating our bleed. If you don't know what bleeds are, watch some of my other PrintsWell videos because it will all start to make sense. So we'll choose that shape and pull it out and then center it on our artboard. And while you're designing, you can always lock this shape by pressing Object Lock, or for me, it's Control 2. Now for this liner, I kind of want to use just this wave design that we have created and change some of the colors. So I'll just paste that in here, and you can kind of use the guideline from behind it to place everything how you want it. So if you want it out closer to the tip, you can do that, or further down in the envelope. One thing is that sometimes if you have a photo or something, it may not fully reach the bottom, and that's generally okay unless you have white envelopes, which can be a little see-through, but in general, you're not going to see that because it's at the very bottom. So you just want to make sure it goes down at least like halfway so that you won't really see it. Let's place that right here, and then I'll just change my colors. Let's do something fun like a yellow, like a light blue, and then maybe a green. Oh, this is kind of pretty. Okay, unintentional, but kind of pretty. So we have our design that we want to use here, and if we want to unlock that object, we can bring it into the front, bring to front, and then we can see kind of exactly how that is going to print with the liner. If you want to, you can always make this a clipping mask. So we'll group our objects, we'll select everything, and we'll go to Object, Clipping Mask, Make. I have another video on those if that's unfamiliar to you. And that just helps you see what it's going to look like when all the sides are cut off. When you actually go to print it, you have to release that clipping mask because you want it to print further than this die cut edge, so that when it die cuts off, there's not accidentally any like white lines if it doesn't die cut like exactly the same place every time. So we'll release that clipping mask, and then the last thing you want to do is make sure that this template is no longer on your paper, because otherwise they will print this black outline and then you might be able to see it on some of your designs. So you definitely don't want that. Just use this to design everything and then get rid of it. I will say just make sure it's centered before you get rid of it, because that shows you that your placement is going to be right with all the other elements in your design. And now we can delete it and we are ready to go. So this is artboard 1. It's the only artboard we have. And we will do File, Save As. I'm going to save this to my desktop as Wave Liner. And the way I always save for PrintsWell Fulfillment is just Adobe PDF. You want to use your artboard, except since we only have one, you don't have to do that. And then I always uncheck to preserve the Illustrator editing capabilities when you have a lot of different pieces. This will help make your file smaller. And then for the marks and bleeds, you don't need anything except you do need bleed settings. Everything you upload to PrintsWell Fulfillment, you are going to need the bleed settings to be 0.125. So if you haven't set that up in your document, you can always just add them right here. But we already have that, as you can see, based on this red line. And it's exactly what we need it to be, 0.125 on all 4 sides. So we'll save our PDF. And then it is ready to go. Now we're back in our ordering system, and we'll click Start Order. We want to order our Euro Flap envelope liners. If you want to do straight flap envelope liners, you can click on this one, and these are all the different sizes they have, which is awesome. And then we have Euro Flap, and they have a fewer sizes, but they are really beautiful. So we'll do our Euro Flap A7 liner, and then you can choose a bright white or an eggshell white paper. The bottom one is a little bit thicker, but the bright white matches the papers that I use for invitations and all the cards that go in the envelopes. So I think those are typically what I'm going to use. And then you'll select whatever quantity you want. Let's do 95. I like to always order a few extra with envelope liners because when you are installing them, you might mess up a little bit, and I would rather rip the liner and start over with a new liner than rip the envelope after it's already been printed with the return address and the guest address. So I always like to sacrifice the liner instead of the envelope, and they're not that expensive, so I always just order a few extra of these. We'll upload our file, and what I love about PrintsWell is that you can see how it's going to look, and then if at this point you forgot to do bleeds, you see if the file is the wrong size, etc., it's going to tell you that. So it'll tell you if you make any mistakes, and then you can see this. It always looks a little bit blurry to me on my screen, but that has never affected print quality. So if you see that, don't get worried. But this is where you can make sure you uploaded the right file, and it'll tell you if there's any sizing or spec issues with the file. So we'll click Next, make sure we review our product for accuracy, and then we can add it to the cart. And one other thing I love about PrintsWell is you can always just choose everything you need here. So if you want to see how much it's going to be for shipping, it's always, $14.99 to start out. But if we wanted to do 2-day, we can see exactly how much more that would be here. And there's just lots of different options here. Then you can also, I don't have a credit card on file on my demo account here, but if you want to do a rush order, it's going to have those instructions clearly at the bottom for you. It's usually $25 to rush an order with 3 or fewer options, and then $45 to rush an order that has 3 to 5 different products in it. Your online ordering is like my absolute favorite thing about that. You can just always order, like if I order this at midnight, I know exactly when it's going to ship and exactly when it's going to arrive to me or to my client. If you want to ship directly to your client, you can always do a custom ship to address here. And it's just super easy to work with them, and you kind of always know you're not going back and forth on email remembering, oh, I didn't say what quantity, or I didn't say which paper, or I didn't say exactly what size or whatever. You always know that they're getting all the information they need and exactly when it's going to print and ship. So I'm just going to scroll through my Etsy shop a little bit so you can see some different options for liners. We do all kinds of things in all kinds of different shapes. These huge floral designs, some patterns, some more geometric designs, these cute little squiggles. So there's just so many different options of how to design your envelope liners, and I have a lot of videos here on how to assemble them, how to design them, how to attach them to your envelopes, etc. So I hope you enjoy printing these with PrintsWell Fulfillment, and if you use my link in the description, you will get $25 off of your first order. Let me know what questions you have about envelope liners in general, working with PrintsWell Fulfillment, all things stationery, and thanks again for watching this video.